All right, everybody. You caught me off guard a little bit. I was messing around with my iPhone right here live. But this is our monthly show, Talking Comics. And this is the show Peter and I have been doing for about 3 months now, I think, more
Yeah,
or
yeah,
less.
couple of months,
Yeah, I just came up with this idea. Peter, why don't we just ask each other five comic book or, entertainment related questions and one bonus questions. And we've been doing this every month. And who's ever here, I appreciate it. But let's take a quick. Oh, before that, Peter, how you doing? Sorry.
I'm very well, mate. I'm very well, thank you.
Good, good, good.
Excited about. I enjoy this show, Efren, because it's sometimes a little bit random, isn't it? Some of the questions we ask each other. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've purposefully, and I know you might have seen my questions,
Yeah.
but I've purposefully not looked at your questions.
It's hard not to look at somebody else's questions, because I put them when I seen your questions, so I put them in like in one question, then another question, back and forth. So I had to look at them, but I didn't look at them too much. We should find somebody to put them in order for us. Yeah. But let's look at the comment section. Let's see who's checking us out today. There's your buddy StreamYard, never fails, always here.
Yeah, best fan.
Best fan ever. Yeah, I give him a thumbs up for always showing up. At least we got one person. And we got Fuzzy. Thanks for showing up, Fuzzy.
Always a pleasure. Fuzzy, Efren will have to put it, I'm sure he'll put it on Instagram. He's been messaging us today. He's just got an astounding sketch cover. Because I know you collect sketch covers.
Yes.
He's got it for a steal. So Fuzzy, you'll have to send Efren a picture because it's a beaut, an absolute beaut.
I think he mentioned it yesterday on your show. Oh, you mentioned it yesterday on his show. Yeah. Who's the artist?
I can't. What's the name of the artist, Fuzzy? Let me know in the comments. But it's a Spider-Man image, and it's stunning. It's really
nice. Yeah,
I'm very jealous. He told us how much he paid for it. I'm not going to say it on air in case he doesn't want to know. But I am very jealous considering how much I know me and you've paid for sketch covers.
Yes. See who else is here. All right, my buddy.
Heyo.
Heyo. How's it going, James? A nice picture. I like that picture in the background. Where are you at? Let us know.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, it's a cool looking picture.
Look at that profile. Look at that. It's very good.
Handsome young man, right?
I mean, on that picture he is, yeah.
Yeah, in that picture he is. All right, who else is here? We have Dead Man. Hey, thanks for showing up. I keep forgetting, Peter, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon here.
Yeah.
And I know you guys are like in the evening over there. It's 8 o'clock after a little bit after 8 o'clock over there, Yeah. But yeah. Who else do we have here? We have Ken. Fuzzy. It's Ken Hazer, if I'm pronouncing it right.
All right. Very cool.
And we also have Wayne Deacon. Thanks for showing up. Oh, I love your thumbnail there of Iron Man. That was pretty cool. He's noticed that. That's pretty cool. I like that. And what did James say? Those were the days. The younger James. All right. You all ready to go, Peter?
Yeah, sure, mate.
So like I said, this is, I came up with, I talked to Peter a couple of months ago saying, hey, I want to do a new video, a monthly one where we just ask each other 5 comic book or entertainment related questions. And are you ready for my first question?
Yes. All I would say, Efren, as well, sorry to interrupt, mate, is the questions are all really interesting, I'm sure. But if people in the chat want to chip in as well with their answers, that would be great as well.
Yeah. You ready?
Born ready, mate. Yeah.
Okay. This one has been a hot topic. You did a video on it too, which I thought was really good. I really want to check out Peter's YouTube channel. He did a video on CGC. But with everything that has happened to CGC, do you still trust them? And basically, will you still use them?
That's the hot topic, isn't it?
Yeah.
My answer, and I know people will disagree and people will kick off and all the rest of it. But my answer is pretty simple. Yeah, I will, Efren. I have. I mean, I've immediately, after doing those videos, I've spent a fair bit of money on a 9.6 Batman Adventures 12 first appearance of Harley Quinn. So I've already kind of jumped in and bought a CGC case. And I guess my rationale for that, and I know lots of people have lost faith in them, but my rationale for that is I honestly think forgeries, fakes, people trying to circumvent the systems is going to be present in any kind of collectible sphere. We've had copied coins, we've had copied stamps, we've got fake action figures. Whenever you go, I don't know if what it's like over your neck of the woods, Efren, but whenever we go to holiday resorts in Spain or places like that, you get horrendous knockoff action figures and things,
Yeah.
Fake Lego, all that kind of stuff. So I think it was probably naive for people to think that this wouldn't happen at some point. I really don't think it's anything new. Does it make us more nervous? Probably it does. But I guess, I'll probably go back to you and say, what I would rely on is people looking at the book and not just the grade. So I would hope, I think I said this in my video, but I would hope that I'm used to looking at comic books enough so that if someone's put, say, I don't know, an 8.0 in a 9.6 case, I would hope I've got the experience to see that when I looked at the book. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's a difference of a 9.8 to a 9.6, then yeah, I'm going to miss that, I've no doubt. But you would hope you would spot a glaring error,
Yeah.
And it doesn't detract at all, I guess, from your own personal collection. I send, as I know you do, a lot of books off, not to sell, but just for my own collection because I want them encased to protect them and all the rest of it. This issue doesn't affect that at all. I send my book in, I get my book back.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That's true.
What about yourself? Are you more concerned?
When we were on your channel, I was so adamant that I wasn't going to use CGC anymore. I think Luke asked me this question. I said, no, I'm not, but I think I had a chance to calm down. If I got a really nice book that I wanted to preserve, I think I would use CGC again. I don't use them that much to begin with now.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have a membership to them, and I got it for Comic-Con last year, and I haven't sent the book in since.
Yeah.
I just did it basically for Comic-Con. I would like to read the book first, to be honest with you. I'm always, reading. If I got a really nice book, I would read it first or go through the pages and then submit it. But I think I would submit it again.
Yeah. But like I say,
tough decisions.
The submission of a book should be, in theory, perfectly safe because there's no issue with the process there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you sending a book that you've got in your hands should come back, in theory, the same book. So there's no tampering. I think it's the bigger concern is when you're buying from companies like eBay or whatever.
Yeah.
And you've got that worry that someone might have tampered with it,
Yeah.
I'd love to know more about what's happened with the guy, to be honest. I don't know if he's still trading on eBay or anything like that.
You haven't heard anything from CGC about this afterwards,
No.
The big thing about 2 weeks ago. But let's look at some of the comments before we go to the next question. Let me see. We have James Keegan says fake pieces of wood.
So that's in reference, I would imagine, to Dr. Von Hoot's claimed bit of wood that he said was from the Evil Dead wood cabin.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. I think he got it from B&Q. I'm not sure.
I remember watching The Big Bang Theory when Raj bought a Harry Potter magic wand. All it was a stick, like a branch from a wood. And he goes, oh, but it's numbered 300 or 400, I go, wow, But let's see what Fuzzy has to say here. It hasn't stopped him buying. It won't stop anyone. I don't care what they say. If they were the number 2 or 3 company, maybe they're the number 1 company. People won't change. Yeah.
I think that's a great point, Fuzzy. I think if this had happened to CBCS or something like that, there might have been a bit of a different response to it. That said, CBCS, they survived the whole signature gate a couple of years ago, didn't they? And they made improvements to the process and the cases.
I have some CBCS books, and I had their a membership for a year or two, and I did get my books done by CBCS. I took them to a comic book convention, and I took it to a vendor, and damn, he got so angry with me that I had a CBCS book. Like he was like, "No, I would never touch a CBCS book." They're going on this big tirade, and I just walked there and went, "Damn!" I go, "Calm down. I'm just asking if you want to look at my books. I'm not telling you that it's the end of the world." You
still quite often see a bit of a shift in price if you're trying to sell a similar graded or a same grade CGC compared to a CBCS. But for me, the appeal point of the CBCS books is, again, much like yourself, Efren, I get a lot of books signed at conventions and things like that, and there's not, in the UK, there's not witnesses there. So with CBCS, I can send the books in and get them graded and authenticated,
Yeah, that's true.
Even though there are flaws in that system as well.
So I got a couple of more questions answers from Fuzzy. Plus, everyone is guilty of thinking it won't happen to me. Plus, everyone knows a CBC label gets more money than CBCS label.
Yeah.
Simple as that's the thing, People just see. Like I said, I have CBCS books, and their cases they're immaculate. They're really nice.
Yeah.
But it's hard for people to change. And last one from Fuzzy. The president of CGC has an interview on West Coast, the vendors channel. Yep,
I haven't watched that yet, Fuzzy. I haven't watched it.
All right, Anymore. Oh, we got Spine Ticks. Hey, thanks for showing up. Spine Ticks, Saturday show. I'm always watching it. Starts at 8 o'clock. It's a really funny show. So everybody who watches it, give it a thumbs up. This is thanks for stopping by and hitting the like before I got to crush some sales calls. No worries. Thanks for showing up. All right, you ready for the second question? I think this is yours.
Is this mine? Is it? Yeah.
Yep. All right. You're up.
Okie dokie. A bit of a kind of a only one shall stand, as it were. You can only have one comic book company and their kind of stable of books. So Marvel, DC, or indie. Which one stays?
These are supposed to be easy questions. We're supposed to relax, Gosh.
I'm relaxed. I'm watching you sweat. Yeah.
Yeah. 10 years ago, if you would have asked me this question, it would have been a no-brainer. I would have said Marvel all the way.
Yeah.
But now, we always talked about our reading habits have changed. If only one could stay, I think I would pick an indie series. There's just so much.
Just remember, my dear friend, you get rid of if you keep indie, there's never going to be another Marvel book. So there'll never be another Daredevil. You lose Spider-Man, you lose Captain America, the Avengers, all that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. But I mean, I've read them, hate to say this, for over 60 freaking years, Marvel and, some DC books more or less. But it's just something about, Something's Killing the Children, Philadelphia, which I keep on going on and on about.
Well, you've never mentioned it.
No, I've never mentioned those books. Just really if I had to read one book first every month, it would be those books. Okay. I just really like them, and I'm probably, I may change my mind tomorrow, but for right now at this hour, it would just be the indie books. I've read Marvel books so many years, I'm not saying I don't enjoy them, but indie, they're different all the time. They're not the same characters. I think that's a pulling point for me. What about yourself?
I think you make a really good point. I think the indie books bring freshness and something new and different storylines, which I do really enjoy. But if we're saying we're never going to get another version of the Avengers or Spider-Man or Fantastic Four, all that kind of stuff, I would pick those characters, that stable of characters, over DC any day of the week. I don't know what it is with DC. It just I like the characters. Do you know what I mean? I'm aware of them, but I don't have the same emotional connection to DC as I do Marvel. So yeah, as much as I do enjoy an indie book, I have to say I would be keeping Marvel and hoping that they picked up the game on some of the books.
So here's what's going to happen. In Peter's universe is going to be Marvel. In my universe is going to be indie books. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call you once a month. Peter, tell me what's happening.
Cross the multiverse.
And, Let's take a look at the comments before we go any further. Fuzzy, I don't believe you. And we have here Bad Dan. Hey, thanks for showing up. And Dead Man, I would have to go with AWA. Same reason as myself. Read the others for 60 years as well. Yeah, that's the main reason.
Yeah, AWA do some amazing books, man. Amazing books.
We have James. Keep Marvel. Never been into indies and haven't read a DC book for the last decade. And we have one more comment here by Fuzzy. No MC. Oh, okay. Hey, calm down. I didn't say that. We're talking about comic books, okay? Not MCU movies, Fuzzy. So calm down. All right. You ready for the next question?
But hang on now. Hang on.
Okay.
Fuzzy's right. I've said Marvel, DC, indie. If you're losing Marvel Universe, you can't have Marvel films as well. That's you can't have a Marvel movie and your indie comics.
Oh gosh. We'll tackle this question maybe in a month or so. Maybe next time you ask me that question again in a month. Maybe I'll change my mind by then. Okay. All right. Next question here. This is mine. When new comic book characters are created, how much interest do they hold for you?
Okay. That's a good question. I am a nostalgia freak.
Yeah.
I like, using the recent Transformers, the recent G.I. Joe. Duke #1 is stunning. If nobody's read that yet, please go check that out. So I do like my older characters being revisited and stuff. That said, I do enjoy a new fresh take on a character, or a new issue number one, or a new character. If we didn't have that kind of stuff, we wouldn't have things like Invincible, Walking Dead, all of the books that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll normally, as a point, if the book sounds interesting or I like the artwork, I'll give it a couple of issues to see what I feel like with it. So yeah, they do pique my interest a bit. More so probably than some of your stable books. A bit like what I was just saying before there. If you've got a new AWO title and I've got the recent issue of Spider-Man, I'm probably going to be drawn more to pick up and read the AWA title rather than a Spider-Man book, just to give it a go and see what fresh take it's got. Because like you, Efren, as you said before, I mean, I've not been reading them quite as long as you, but I've been reading comics for a long, long time. And you do get bored with the mainstream characters a little. So it is nice to see something fresh, I guess.
Yeah. I think it all depends on if the character just grabs a hold of me. You know, when Erica Slaughter of Something's Killing the Children first showed up, I go, man, this character is going to be a hit. Just her whole persona. I mean, that really grabbed my, attention. And also, who can't forget, there's been so many Spider people, but when Miles showed up, it was different.
Yeah.
He was a minority to begin with, and fresh, so they did a fresh take on him. So I mean, it all depends on who the character is. Some of them, they create them and they're just gone after that. Nobody cares about them. There was this one mutant from the 90s. He had his hat on backwards. I forgot his name. But he was like a flash in the pan. Nobody cared about him.
Extreme.
Extreme.
He was one of the Summers brothers. It's interesting you mentioned Miles Morales, mate, because all the excitement about Miles, and I've got the computer game now, I'm really enjoying and all that kind of stuff. But I read a Miles Morales comic book lately, and again, I might get shot down in the chat for this, but it was interesting that it didn't feel fresh anymore. It was, it's Miles. I think I've got used to the character so much that I've lost that initial wow factor with him. He's still a great character, don't get us wrong. I think he's going to be a generation Spider-Man. But I guess what I mean is Miles isn't new anymore, you know? He's not a new character. He's been around, I don't know how long he's been around.
Over 10 years now.
Yeah. So he doesn't feel new anymore, Yeah.
So, All right, let's look at the comments. I have enjoyed Duke number one. This is from Deadman, and he is a new character as far as I'm concerned. Excited for this new universe. Is Duke a new character?
So no, Duke is he's always been one of the leading characters in the G.I. Joe, we would call it Action Force over here, in that kind of mythology. Mm-hmm. But this was a real retelling of the character. It felt very different. Okay. It was a really good book. Very strong start. Yeah.
That's interesting that they can do a retelling of a character that makes it popular again.
Yeah.
Gee, Marvel's never done that before. Let's see, we got another one here from Fuzzy. Just picked up Jackpot number one. That's the Marvel one, right? I think that's Mary Jane. Yeah. We'll give it a bash. I don't mind trying anything once. Yeah, try anything once, if you like it or not.
I've heard that about you, Fuzzy. You like to try anything. I'm not convinced with Jackpot, Fuzzy. You'll have to drop us a line and let us know what it's like. I don't know. I'm not sold on it.
We got one here from Bat Dan. I know nothing about Duke, but as I'm reading Void Rivals and Transformers, gave it a go and loved it. Yeah, I've been getting into Void Rivals and Transformers too, And I'm not a big Transformers fan at all, but I'm reading it, Got one from James. You sound 90 years old when you say computer. How can I block James? Is there a way to block him right now?
Block him. Just block him.
Yeah. Sorry, James. I got one from Fuzzy. Had a nightmare about a Cobra Commander number one. Luckily found one today, but it seemed to be very popular.
Yeah, I think it's a hot book, Fuzzy. I think it's flown off the shelves because of that. The preview we had in some of the other books was so good that I think people know that they're onto a good thing with this. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to read it too, Yeah. And got another one from James here. Channing Tatum is in the movies, isn't he? Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So he is, and so is Bruce Willis in the second one, I think.
Oh wow. Yeah. I got one more for Deadman. I've never read G.I. Joe, so it's all new to me. Yeah. I've never read G.I. Joe either. So it is new to me too. Okay, we're all caught up. Let's go on. To the next question. It's one of yours. Ready?
Yeah. Okay, now I know people will go, Star Trek. So I'm not asking you to, because I know you're a Trekkie like me. I'm not asking you to pick your favorite captain. What I want to know is if you were an ensign, if you were on one of the ships, whose command would you rather be under?
Gosh, dang it, man. I would think I would like to be under Seven of Nine. If you know what I mean. Just kidding.
Efren did it dirty. That's that. You can't say that, Efren.
No, gosh, you know what? I liked Deep Space Nine, but he wasn't a
Sisko.
captain, I believe. It was Cisco. I always
Oh,
liked that.
yeah, he was captain. Yeah,
He was a captain. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, I always liked that character. That was one. I think that was an underrated series. I really enjoyed,
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine.
I enjoyed Deep Space Nine, but I think it suffered slightly for me because Deep Space Nine came out at the same time or around the same time as Babylon 5.
Okay,
And I far preferred Babylon 5. I thought Babylon 5 was an astounding series. I thought you would have gone for Kirk, but for me, it
yeah,
has,
that'd be a too generic answer, man.
yeah. And also, if you're under Kirk, you know you're going to get shot. Do you know what I mean?
Especially
He's
if
got
we're-
no control. I would
Yeah.
have gone Picard because I think
Yeah.
Picard, he's my favourite captain, but also I think he's a fantastic leader in the series as well. But Cisco is a good call, mind. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, bonus question: in Deep Space Nine, what is your favorite episode? I know mine.
Really well. Oh, it's a hard question, Efren. I love a bit of action, so I love the episodes with the Defiant when they're
Okay.
fighting, But my favourite episode is where they do it very, very well, where they do the kind of the time split one, and they go back and you have the original crew on board.
I
and
knew you were
you've
going to
got
say
the-
that.
You got the tribbles,
Oh,
and
yep.
yeah, it's just amazing.
That was a great episode. I'm gonna watch it again right after this. We had the same answer. Yeah, Tribbles won, the crossover one. It was the way they did the editing of that. It was so well
Brilliant.
done. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was very,
Let's-
very cool.
Take a look at the cons before we go any further here. Let me see here. Where were we at? Oh, I think we're right here. Fuzzy giving MJ a bash. And let me see here. We got one from Deadman waiting for Cobra to arrive.
Yeah, very cool.
And we got another one from James. Yeah, but he plays Duke, I think.
Hmm.
And somebody showing up. Hack, if I'm pronouncing it right. What up, panel and chat? Hey, thanks for showing up.
Nice to
We
see
appreciate
you.
it. I'm not sure what James is mentioning me, but
Because you were being rude, Efren. You were being,
Oh,
you were being
okay.
dirty.
Yeah, okay. I thought better of you. Yeah, every now and then, so blame my old age. The original Kirk, he would be fun as long as you don't have to wear red. Yep, exactly. You have a red shirt on, forget it, you're gone. I got a question from Fuzzy. What color would your uniform be? The really important question. I like the light blue or the bluish uniform,
Science officer.
Yeah.
So blues, if you go on TNG Next Generation, blues science officers, and
Okay.
I'd be red naturally. I'd be in command. I'd be,
Yeah.
yeah. 4 pips, captain. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've actually got the uniform, Fuzzy. I've got the uniform.
Do you cosplay at all every now and then? Just walk around the neighborhood?
I just wear it when I'm in the house.
We got one more from them. Oh, it was called
Nice.
Trials and Tribulations. Yeah, that was a great
Brilliant
episode.
episode.
Yeah.
Brilliant episode.
I think we're caught up. Let me see here. Fuzzy says, I didn't notice Terry's question. Okay.
The
you
original
ready?
curve, yeah.
Yeah. Let me see who's next here. Okay. I think this question's been asked a lot of times here, but do you think the new Deadpool movie will right the ship for the MCU?
I hope so. I think it's going to be a great movie. I think it's going to be fun. I'm going in very positive. I think the humor will be there. I think the violence will be there.
Yeah.
Whether it has a massive impact on the state of the MCU and how they move forward, I don't know. I think that plan's already set in motion.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful. I mean, we talked last night, obviously, about Echo, and we're looking at some of the other series. I think Marvel are starting to realise that people want the more gritty element of the Marvel universe. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
I hope so too, but I'm getting the feeling this movie is going to be like an event that you have to go see it regardless of if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
So I just think they should stop, and we've been talking about this. Stop showing so much, scenes from the movie. just keep the people interested more.
Yeah,
They've done
no, I
enough,
agree.
I think. This person's going to show up. This person's going to show up. Word of mouth. We know we're going to go see it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's going to right the ship for the MCU. Like I said, I think it's going to be more of an event. It all depends on the ending too. They wish have the extra credit scenes if anything's going to lead to that. It's going to catch everybody by surprise. So. But let's look at some of the comments before we go any further. This is from Peter Cosplaying. Does he cosplay? You bet he does. I'm sure you ask this Deadbolt question every month. Yeah. We're not going to ask
and we'll
anymore.
continue to do so, Fuzzy. Yeah. Even after the movie's been out. This time next year, we'll be still asking the question.
Yeah, stay tuned for the review on Peter's channel on Deadbolt.
Yeah.
We're going to do it. Okay, mark the date. We got one from James here. It could go either way for Deadpool 3. It will fall completely flat of be the best thing they've made in ages. Yeah. Hopefully it'll be the best. I'll keep my fingers crossed. All right.
I'm hopeful.
You're up next.
What was my next one? Yeah, this just kind of came into my mind the other day. Batman 66, the good old Adam West Batman. Yeah. Incredibly camp of its time, all the cartoon effects and things. And I'm wondering, Efren, because you were probably around
about 8 years old.
Yeah. I remember watching this when I was a young kid at my nana and granddad's on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, things like that. Batman to me was always best when he was the Dark Knight, and that's, if you go back and read his first appearances and things, he's a pretty dark, menacing character. And I don't know if 66 altered that, if it changed the character in any way, or if it might not be so now, but certainly I think for a few years after, Batman was a bit of a laughingstock. Yeah. What did you think?
So you got to remember, I was about 7, 8 years old when this show first came out, and I didn't know anything too much about comic books back then. I had not started collecting comic books, so I loved it. It was like my first introduction to Batman. I might have known about some, superheroes before that, but not put much attention to it. I was a very young child. So that might have led me into collecting comic books, because I was watching it, So, but I loved it. I thought it was campy and fun. Adam West and Burt Ward, Cesar Romero. I forgot the Riddler's name. Frank, forgot his last name. Merriweather. All these characters. I remember their names even after decades and decades, So, to me, it didn't damage the character at all. I really enjoyed it. That's a nostalgia show for me. The movie, when the Batman movie came out, I was like, oh my God, I was like overwhelmed by it. So I love it.
I mean, it's a bit of pop culture now, I think, isn't it? In terms of that movie, it the shark repellent and all that kind of stuff, and
the Batcopter and everything. Shark bites into Batman, no blood. Wow, he's so cool.
I think it's certainly had an impact on the character in terms of making him more younger child friendly.
Yeah.
And it probably introducing the kids, I guess, of that age to the comic book the comic book series. But I don't know if for me that's one of the things that hangs around comics' neck a little bit. Maybe it's not so much now. But certainly when I was a younger man, and I was getting to read comic books and things like that, it was almost a joke. Comic books, you weren't cool to read comic books, and part of that was because people, the general public who didn't read comics, associated comic books with the Batman 66 campiness and silliness. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the show, because I absolutely loved the show. I've got figures of the show. I just do think that it altered comic book collecting for a good few years. I think it's gone now. I think people are much more accepting of comic book culture and nerds and things like that. Oh, for sure.
You can remember this 1966, United States, it was like the era of the hippies, and you could tell that was like part of the way the show, you could tell it was like from the 60s, but I just loved when they pow and bam and they showed the actual words of the hits and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it, so that was pretty cool. All right, let's look at the comments before we go any further. Let me see. We have Dead Man Did, as far as I'm concerned, hated it. We got my nephew here, Hood Rat Comics. So thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
And let me see. We've got another one from Deadman. Because I read comic books, people that knew that took the piss because of that program. Yeah. We got Southern Comic Geek. Thanks for showing up. If Batman could have shark repellent in his belt, he can have a no damage pill as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we got another comment here from Fuzzy. What was Batman like in the 50s, though? Hardly a grizzled action hero, surely. For the time, I'm sure it was perfect. Yeah, it was.
No, I mean, if you go back and read some of the early Batman comics, Fuzzy, it was very much a detective kind of thing, but it was quite dark and grim. I mean, in the first few issues, he carried a gun and he was shooting criminals and things like that, dispatching them. So it certainly did change in tone in the 50s, 60s.
Yeah. We got one from...
Not that I've read a great deal of the early stuff.
I've never read them.
I've read the first issue and I've read 4 or 5 after that.
Yeah. Comic codes also affected the tone of comics for the time, so it wasn't 100% Batman's fault.
Absolutely.
Yep. Very true.
The comic code handcuffed them, didn't it?
Yeah. Bat Dan, if it wasn't for 66, if it wasn't for 66, we haven't ever got the O'Neill Adams golden age of Batman. Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah.
We got another one from Fuzzy. Would the original creators even recognize the Dark Knight? I'm unsure. Yeah. No, probably not. Talking about Batman original creators now. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, here's my next question. Do you prefer going to a movie theater or just watching movies at home?
This is a really hard question. You're gonna trigger James in the comments, I think. This has changed over time for me. How can I put it? I love the cinema experience. Yeah. I love the dark environment. I love the big screen for my old eyes. I just love I'm one of these people who gets really upset if I miss the trailers. I love the trailers because it's part of the experience. But over the last few years, as I've got a bit older, I've realised I hate people in the general public. And I don't understand why people go to the cinema and talk or chatter all the way through or play on and it does my head in. But I get obsessive about it. I get to the point where I become distracted from the movie because I'm getting angry with the people 2 rows down who are playing on the phone or having a chatter or whatever. So I love the cinema experience, but I'd love it more if I had a home theatre and I could sit in that myself. Now, I like the comfort of sitting watching a movie at home, but, and I'm just speaking quietly in case she's listening, my wife does my head in because she's the kind of person that will stop a movie 15 times to go to get a drink or to go into the kitchen or to check her phone or do something. And that's another thing that I can't cope with. If I'm watching a movie, I like to watch the entire movie. I'm not a one who stops and starts and stops and starts. Sound like a right miserable old bugger. But yeah, so I guess the answer to the question is, for me, I prefer the cinema experience because I just think the entire experience of going to the pictures is great.
I think I would choose going to the movie cinema, especially before COVID. Oh my God. Just like when the Marvel movies came out, when Avengers Endgame came out, and it was so crowded and just my heart was pumping, and it was like 3-hour movie. I was like, oh man, that experience I'll never forget. And even seeing Star Wars for the first time, just the gasp, you feel the energy from other people. But there are times now when I go to a movie theater, I mean, it's rather empty, which I kind of like that too, giving my own space. Sometimes it's just me and my daughter, like about 10 other people, So, but staying at home, it has its perks too. You can just relax and kick up your feet and not having to worry about anything. Just watch the movie,
So here's a quick question for you then, Efren. In the UK, for the main part, there's not a lot of audience participation at the cinema. I think when you see big movies like Endgame in the end scene, or the Spider-Man movie where you see Toby and things like that, there's audible cheers and things like that, but for the main part it's quiet. Whereas when I watch American movies, it gives the impression that your theaters are much different and that there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of people cheering at the screen and whooping and things like that. Is that true, or is that just
I would say it's more true in the past. people were cheering and, getting into every scene. When somebody comes out, you could hear the gasp of the crowd, just cheering, but not obviously not through the whole movie, but more, to me, at least, more in the past, that's been more true, but recent times, no, it's not as true. It's died down a lot, so to speak, but not that many people go to movie theaters. When I go to movie theaters, it's like empty, which is unfortunate.
Good question, that one, Efren.
Let's look at some of the comments here. Got one from James Theater. If it's completely empty, what if Peter went with you? You'd kick him out?
No, we've been to the cinema many a time together. Yeah. Sharing the popcorn.
From Hood Ready, be at home 100%.
Share me nachos.
We got one from Dead Man. I agree with James. That's the only time I would go. Yeah. Wow, a lot of people are choosing home unless I can sit in my underwear in public. Turns out, like, sure, you can, take your chances out there, but go ahead.
The trick is, Fuzzy, to go in full clothing until the lights go off and then just strip. Nobody'll notice. Yeah.
Thanks for that image, Fuzzy. Not LOL. All right, let's go on to the next questions. This is yours.
Yeah. So, we talked briefly about this, I think, last night or something. Are some characters overused and who should take a break? So, there are some characters that seem to have multiple comics on the go, the guest appearing. I mean, I'll use, and again, people will disagree because she's loved, but Harley Quinn seems to be in every bloody book. She's got so many different issues of her own and stuff, and I just think sometimes some of these characters just could do with a bit of a break, bit of a rest, because I've become a little bit bored with them. I didn't know what your take was.
I can see your point. I mean, people would become bored with them, but these people, these publishers, they know who brings in the money. Yeah. So I think they have to push them. But for a while, I mean, for me, it was Spider-Man. He had so many books. I went, dang, man. He was like in over 20% of all their books, but he's so popular. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes, they took a break with Fantastic Four, I remember, a couple years ago. Yeah, but that was because they weren't as popular. Their sales went way down. So they, took a break for about 2 years. They'll never take a break from Harley Quinn or Spider-Man. There's no way they'll do it. But I wish they wouldn't just, inundate us with so much of them.
I guess that's the thing. Maybe it's not a break, but just dial it back a little bit. I mean, if you look at the current, X-Men line, for example, X-Men's been an issue for a while. I mean, I used to love reading X-Men, but now it's so complicated and so convoluted, but spread over 10, 15 different books or something like that. It's inaccessible. I kind of would love to go back to a day where you had one Spider-Man book, one X-Men book, one Fantastic Four book, and you could just get the story in that, and get away with bloody multiple crossover things. It does me head in. Yeah. There's so many multi-layered crossovers that you just think, really, give it a rest.
And you want to read them all because you want to make sure you get everything that you know about each series. But I agree. I mean, sometimes I wish it was just one book, but then they wouldn't make any money.
Yeah.
So, but let's look at some of the comments before we go any further. Let me see here. Here we go. First one. Do a Pee Wee Herman. Please don't. That's a dark movie theater. We got who's here? Phil. Hey, evening, chaps. Thanks for showing up. Hey, Phil. Let me see here. We got one from comment from Dead Man. Yes, kill Joker, Harley Quinn. Wow, very drastic.
Yeah.
We got one from Fuzzy. Joker, Venom, X-Men, and his symbiote. Yeah, symbiotes. They're Black Widow's a symbiote now.
Yeah.
I've been reading it recently.
So is bloody Liz Allen.
Is she?
Yeah. She's called Misery, I think she's called. It's like,
why do you know that?
Man.
Yeah. So yeah.
I agree with everything Fuzzy's saying there, I'm afraid. And I know Phil's still in the chat. Phil will be upset about the Venom side of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, every one of those, give them a rest for a bit.
But I kind of admit I like Black Widow as a symbiote for some reason. I was like, it's pretty cool. That's just me, So we got another one from Phil. Spider-Man, yes and no. Anytime Peter Parker has sat out and we have had other Spideys stand in, we cry out for Peter Parker to return. Yeah, I would love Peter Parker, So
that's very true.
Yeah. So Spidey and Bats do have too many books, but Batman, that's DC's cash cow. You know, they
Yeah.
cannot get rid of Batman. It'd be boring. I don't think they would have that many sales, you know.
So they did a bit of a relaunch of Superman, maybe it's a year ago, I want to say. And I picked up a couple of his books and I really, really enjoyed the first few issues. I thought, actually, this is great. And then by, I think it was week 4, I realised there was about 8 different titles with multiple now Superman family members. I
Yeah.
think he's got about 4 or 5 different kids at this point.
Yeah.
2 of them are aliens.
Yes.
And then there was a Connor Kent was still there. There was
his own son.
Yeah, and it just got to the point where I thought, you know what, I can't be bothered with this. Like, so I stopped reading, which was really disappointing because, like I say, I enjoyed the first couple of issues I read. You know,
they brought over the Superman from China too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot. I got one from Dead Man. Just started enjoying Batman again, and then the Joker turns up. Yet again. Yeah. So
yeah.
From Phil's. I'm going to pretend Fuzzy didn't say Venom. I'm not triggered, LOL, but they do overuse the symbiotes.
Yeah.
See, at least Black Widow has an interesting new power. See, I think that's why I liked it. You know, I go, wow, that's cool. You know,
I've not read it. I've not read the book, so I can't comment.
She showed up in Venom, his son, and she started helping him out. And then, you know, one of the
Dylan,
one of the symbiotes, Goop or whatever it's called, landed on her and then bonded with her. You know, so she's got a new power set.
You see, I'm twisting Efren saying get rid of them and stuff like that, but I did enjoy. I haven't read the last issue actually yet. I did enjoy Red Goblin with little Normie Osborn getting.
I've been reading that because of you, and it's a good storyline.
Enjoying that.
It's tough, you know. So that's a tough question. Dang. Okay, let me see here. This is my question. I've always thought about this in the past. You know, I always thought about this. You know, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what would you say about collecting comic books?
Oh, that's a hard one.
I've thought about this a lot of times. God, I wish I could go back in time.
I mean, the obvious answer is to say you would give people give myself advice on which characters are going to be key books and things like that to make money, I guess.
Yeah.
What I would hope I would say to myself, whether I would have the gumption to do it or not, I don't know. But what I would hope I'd say to myself is, don't collect comic books. Stop. Yeah, don't get into the collecting sphere. Just keep reading and enjoying it. Do you know what I mean? Because I think when you start to get into the collecting kind of mentality, I think I have. I think I'm coming back to it now, but I certainly think that I drifted away from reading and went into just collecting. So cover buys and things like that, and I missed the element of the reading of them. I think I still do it now when I pick up as much as I can to read. But yeah, I would try and get rid of the obsessive collecting nature of it.
I would bring a boatload of money with me and take it to my younger self. And for the love of God, you're not buying enough comic books. And you gotta understand, this is in the 1970s. Here's money. Go buy AF-15. Go buy all the very first Marvel comic books. I just didn't think that way when I was younger. I did buy Silver Age books, but obviously I wasn't working. You know, I was still a kid. I started collecting when I was about 10 years old. But if I could, I'd go back and tell myself, for the love of God, somehow get money or bring money with me and go buy these books.
See, I
buy more than one.
I can clearly remember the kind of the light bulb moment when I realized that comics actually had a value.
Yeah.
And it was back in the day, you won't know it, but some of the people in the chat might know it. There was a TV show called John Craven's News Round, which was like a news show, but for kids, for teenagers and stuff like that. And I was sat eating my dinner on my lap, and John Craven was on, and he did a segment about New Mutants 87, the first appearance of Cable, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was the big thing. It was, oh my God, this is a new character. And they did the news section because basically in America it was flying off the shelves. And I had that book. I just picked it up from Forbidden Planet or whatever. And I remember my mom saying to us, oh, you need to keep that one. Mind, it might be worth some money in the future. And it was like the ting. Oh, comics are actually worth something. Comics, you can sell comics. Yeah, it was strange. Very strange.
I'm also glad when we first started collecting comic books, it wasn't for money. It was just for the love of reading comic books. You know, and that's why I didn't buy all those books. But back in the day, you know, when I started collecting comic books, all those number ones, they were not even 10 years old. You know, the
Yeah.
debuts of all those, they were less than $1,000 easily at comic book conventions.
Oh,
But I didn't have
absolutely.
that type of money. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to ask my dad, invest in this. You know,
Yeah.
so but let's just look at some of the comments here. Let's see if I can find the other one. I think this is from the previous question. I think Harley only sells because of the covers. Not sure anyone reads them. I used to read Harley Quinn, but I stopped. You know, Fuzzy, yeah, but going in the past. Obviously, buy them all. Yep, that's what I bring a lot of money here, kid. Buy these.
Yeah.
I got one from Phil. Don't be influenced by YouTubers. Yeah, except for us too. You know,
Except
so,
for us, obviously.
yeah,
Obviously.
always, yeah. I've said it many times. I would go back to 1984 and tell myself not to sell them. Yeah. Yeah. Even though I'm selling some of my comic books now because I just figure it's time, you know, I start selling some of them, you know, and I am saving up the money to get some other books. I won't lie though. You know?
It's funny you go through these cycles, don't you? You sell for the right reasons, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I've done videos on it. You know, I've sold collections in the past. But I'm at the stage now where I'm looking back at books that I've had relatively recently. Like I've just picked up, like I say, First Appearance of Harley Quinn, which I've had before.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking on eBay before we went live thinking, I sold my first appearance of Vision 2 years ago. And I really need that in my collection again.
Yeah.
You know, so I am starting to want to go back and pick up stuff again.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I'm selling some of my books it's because of my age. I won't lie. And I just I think it's pretty cool not giving it to somebody, but somebody else buying them that will cherish them hopefully as much as I did, you know? So,
Yeah.
Let me see here. James said he would buy Bitcoin in 2007.
Is Bitcoin, I've lost off. Is Bitcoin still a thing? I don't know if it's still a
I've
thing.
never gotten Bitcoin. Oh man, that's over my head, you know? So
Bit like, what was the big craze a couple of years ago with comic books? Was it, what was it? To NFTs? Everybody got dead excited about NFTs and buying.
oh my God, I bought
artwork.
a couple of NFTs, but this guy was telling me this is going to be the hit. You don't understand. And I still have them. I have one NFT. I'm like, I don't get it. You don't have a physical copy of it. What's the use of it? So I said, nah.
Yeah.
Oops. Let me see here. We got one from Fuzzy. Set up a reputable grading company. That may be a gap in the market in 20 years. There may be a gap in the market in 40 years.
Absolutely.
Yes, Fuzzy. Also set up a bag and board company. Yeah. Let me see here. Realized early that girls are much more fun. What? No way. Girls are more costly.
That's very true, yeah.
We got Fuzzy here. Not the ones I like, Phil. All right. The doctor showed up. Hey, thanks for showing up, doctor.
Can I just interrupt? Thank you very much, Von Hoot.
Oh, yes.
We discovered that Von Hoot sent me this in the post. Very much appreciated, mate. I've had a quick flick through and it looks amazing. Lovely, stunning hardback. So really do appreciate that, bud. Thank you.
So there was no return address on there? No name?
No. Nah.
Wow.
He completely threw us because it looks like it's come from France. And it's got like a gaming company address on the box and stuff.
Gotcha.
So
threw you off,
yeah.
huh? Yeah. NFTs are utter trash. Yeah. I got into it for a split second and I said, no, I just don't get it. You know, have Dead Man here. I would now probably be buying Golden Age as I would not have had to replace the Silver Age and upwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody saying hi to Dr. Von Hoot. And the last one, Fuzzy from France.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's from France.
What if it was they didn't ship it to you? What would they do with a book that has no return address? I wonder how they find the person, you know? Yeah.
Von Hoot, what's he said? He ordered it from a shop rather than sent it from him. I wonder if it was a French. Yeah. Because it's 48 non. I don't know.
Hey, Fuzzy, Peter, crap detective work. You'd never be a superhero, Peter. Come on. How hard is it?
I taught Batman everything he knows.
Yeah, I ordered it from a shop rather than send it from me. Yeah. The artwork is fantastic. Who's the artist? Does it say? Is it more than one or?
Don't think so.
Oh.
But the art is stunning. It's kind of the old style pulp. Can you see that?
Oh yeah. Sometimes black and white work is more striking, you know. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it looks lush.
Doctor, you know my address if you want to send me anything, you know. We got one more from Dr. Varnu. He's Argentinian originally. Wow.
Very cool.
All right. Looks like we are caught up. Oops. Hang on for a second here. And where are my banners? Next question. This is yours.
Yeah. So we've talked Harley Quinn a little bit. What I want to know, Efren, is there a really popular character that everybody's always kind of gushing about that you just don't get? You don't understand why people love them so much. I'll start off,
man,
and I'll get kicked for it. I think Lobo is a piece of shit. I don't get the character Lobo at all. I don't understand all the love for him. I think people go mad about how cool he is and all the rest of it. And actually, if I'm honest, Gambit back in the day never did anything for us really either. And everybody here was very, very popular at some point. So yeah, I just don't get the love for those characters, I think. What about yourself?
Man, this is the one question I wish I would have had in advance. This is a tough one. You're putting me on the spot. Popular character you just don't get. God, Lobo's such a good answer, man. I may have to come back. Give me a couple minutes. Peter, start talking about something. I don't know.
No. Under the pressure, mate. No, James T is saying here that he never got Lobo either. Yeah, he just didn't appeal to me. Jean Grey, that's an interesting one. She's a bit, dare I say, bland. I got one. I don't really think much of Jean Grey.
You know, this is at the top of my head. I never liked what they've really done with the Bishop character from the X-Men.
Yeah.
Was he a good guy? You know, he came from the future. He knew everything that was going to happen, but then he became a villain. He was going after Cable and his daughter Hope for a while. You know, so he just wishy-washy on that character. You know, so that's the top of my head. You know, yeah.
I mean, I remember reading him when he first came out in the Uncanny X-Men line, and he was excellent. I really enjoyed him. But then over the last few years, they've just totally screwed the character over.
Yeah.
I mean, he was hunting them down at one point, wasn't he? He was trying to kill them.
Yeah, he was hunting him down. Yeah. You know, so, but you know, now he seems to, they had a book on him and I stopped reading it, but he got sent to the future again or some other alternate reality where all the X-Men were black.
The art was atrocious. The art was
I read the first 2 issues, but I stopped.
Yeah, I read the first 2 issues of that, and then just I bailed. It wasn't good. Yeah, it wasn't good.
I want to thank everybody for leaving a comment on this show. Normally, when I do my shows, I get like 1 or 2 comments, and that's it. So I appreciate everybody leaving comments. So let me see what else I can find here. This is from I think this is from the book that Dr. Von Hood sent you. It's from the 70s, I think. Yeah, he basically got disappeared by the regime not long after it. Wow.
Right.
Dang.
Okay, interesting.
Here's James. He never cared for Lobo or Jean Grey. I think Bat Dan agrees with you. Lobo Paramilitary X-Men Special was one of the funniest books I ever read. You know, he has a daughter now, too. You know, that came out in the Teen Titans, you know. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Wow, James, Silver Surfer.
Okay.
Interesting choice. Fuzzy, I think he's trying to rile you up here. Can I say the God of Thunder?
No, you can't. No, but I get that, Fuzzy. I get that some people find Thor as a character a bit dull, but they're wrong. Yeah.
Let me see. We got one here from Doctor. I have no interest in. Wow, and Silver Surfer too either. Wow, he's gonna show up in a Fantastic Four movie, whether we like it or not. You know.
I think Silver Surfer struggles, to be honest. I think he's got some interesting stories now and then, but I have to agree, he's not a character that I would. Yeah. I don't think I've ever read his ongoing series for a long period of time. You know.
Yeah.
I've read events and things with him in, but I don't see. And again, I might get shot down. I don't see Silver Surfer as a leading man. He's kind of a sidekick or an add-on character for me.
But he's so powerful too.
Oh yeah.
Kind of from Doctor. Could say he was bad. Just don't read him. Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. Guy Gardner and Lobo. Everybody seems to be in the Lobo boat.
Yeah. I never got Guy Gardner either, to be honest.
Most teams, JLA, Titans, 90% of the X-Men, Scarlet Witch. Yeah, that's a good one. Scarlet Witch, man, she's gone from normal to crazy, back to normal again. Everything she's done, no more mutants, this whole thing, you know. Yeah, so.
Titans has had a few good runs, mind. I quite enjoyed some of the Titan runs.
From the 1980s,
Yeah.
Okay, now these are I asked Peter. We asked each other 5 questions, and then the last two. So we did our 5 questions each, but I say, hey, let's put in 2 bonus questions, something not having to do with comic books or anything, but we want to ask each other. So this is mine. Home is where the heart is, but if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
Well, so that's pretty easy for me, but it's a bit of a cop-out answer. I'm lucky. My wife has got dual nationality. Not that she's ever been there, but our parents were Australian, so she's got dual nationality. So we could go to Australia whenever we wanted. But for some reason, and I don't quite know why, it's just never appealed to me in the slightest. It's just never been on my radar at all. And I don't know why. It just doesn't. But I've been to Florida a couple of times now, and I absolutely love that style of living, that style of life. It's a bit hot for me, mind. But I'd have to say the States. I would like to live in America. I'm going to upset you, American colleagues, Efren, probably. I don't know that I would want to bring my kids when they were younger to be raised in America. I think I would, but I would happily emigrate there myself as an adult. But I don't think I want my children there initially. But yeah, I'd go to America.
Yeah, the humidity in Florida is bad. I've been there for, when I've got, oh my God, it's so humid here, man. It's crazy. I have 2 choices. One, when I was younger, my parents used to take me to Hawaii. I fell in love with Hawaii. I said I always wanted to live there. I just love the ocean, and the weather's always warm, year round for the most part. My second part is I have dual citizenship too, because my parents were born in El Salvador, and I've been there, and that place it just has a special place in my heart. It's a small country, and I just really love it there. I told my daughter if I didn't have my dogs with me, I'd spend a lot more time down there. Now that I'm retired.
Have you traveled much outside of America, Efren?
When my parents, I went to parts of Europe with my parents when I was younger, but outside the United States, no. I've been to Mexico. Obviously, it's just down the border from me. I want to go visit. You guys are in England now. Talking about it, I was going to mention to you later. I think I might this year. Hopefully, I may try to meet you guys up for Thought Bubble.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
A vacation, do that for a couple of days and go on vacation.
Yeah. Introduce you to Shots and Witherspoons.
Yeah. So, So those are the 2 places that I would like to live. Let's see the comments here. Let me see here. We have one question from an answer from the previous question. I've never read Silver Surfer except for the Dan Slott outlet run. Possibly my favorite run of books from the last 10 years. Read it, guys. Wow. Okay.
We'll have to check that out. Not yet.
I think I might have read that. I think I might have read it. I did read it. I think so. Yeah.
Didn't realize Dan Slott had done Silver Surfer.
And James, next to you, our friend. Yeah, I'd like you as a neighbor. I don't like my neighbors too much, so you can come on with me, James. So. Say Florida, Pete. Go on.
You must know me too well, Fuzzy. You must know us so well, mate.
Yeah, haha, knew it. Yeah, man says you would melt, Peter.
Yeah.
Well, good thing we have air conditioning.
Well, that's the difference. Everywhere you go in Florida certainly was just air conditioned, so it was lovely,
Yeah, but I was there last time I was there, and I went to Disney World. The humidity was just brutal.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, dang, man, it's hot over here. Dr. Von Hoot, now Neighbors is back. It's worth going.
No, that's the opposite, mate. Now Neighbors is back. It's on the blacklist. It's definitely not going.
James, this is brutal. I give it a week till he's eaten by an alligator. God,
it'll take an alligator a week to eat us, James. I think that's what you mean. Yeah. Actually, that was the interesting thing about Florida. We did. There's a little town called Celebration in Florida. It's lovely, really, really nice. Very kind of what you think of is a traditional American village kind of thing. And we're just walking along, and there's like a little river thing running through it, a little nice bridge and everything over it. And there was just alligators, just there. And it was like, gee, God, these things eat people, but they were just wandering around aimlessly. Thought, wow.
Damn. Yeah, no. Australia can talk.
Absolutely, Fuzzy. Absolutely.
So I'd love to live in Canada, Alice there, but I'd die or starve, probably both.
Canada's on my wish list. Fuzzy, my son Thomas is desperate to go to Canada, so that's going to be our next big family holiday. Couple of years time probably, because he's obsessed with going. I'd love to do I want to do the touristy things, Efren. I've not done Niagara Falls and things like that. You know, I want to go to some of those big landmarks.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go where they have the Northern Lights. I've been watching a lot on my Instagram site. You know, those are beautiful. I want to go see that. You know.
Yeah.
Let me see. Efren, a thought bubble will be wonderful. Weatherspoons will change his life. Yeah, I'm really going to talk about this. We'll start talking about it. Like, let me know when it is, Peter. We're going to talk about it behind the scenes. I think I'm going to go. You know.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Bring plenty of warm. No, I don't have warm clothes. You know.
You have to buy a new wardrobe. Yeah.
Hey, Desired Comics showed up. Nigel. If you guys follow Nigel on Instagram, he's a very nice guy. I met him the first time at Comic-Con last year, and we bonded almost instantly. He's a very good guy, and he lives in the Baltimore area, so it's cold over there. So yeah, but we were hanging out last year at San Diego Comic-Con, had a lot of fun. Good guy. Fuzzy, Alaska.
Oh, Alaska. I was wondering where that was. What he said. Yeah.
Let me see here. Toronto's the nicest city I've ever been to. Wow, nicest. And we got one from Deadman. I would like to live along the Loire Valley, but probably die of wine inhalation. Have you ever been to Vegas, Peter?
No, again, that's on my list. No. You know my personality, Efren, in my challenges with control, self-control. I do like a slot machine, so going to Vegas could be dangerous for me, I think. But I'd love to do it just to see the lights and all the rest of it.
Don't go during the summer. Yeah. It is brutal. The heat. Yeah. You can't. I mean, it's over 100 degrees easily. I mean, you go out, you have to go back inside the casino and just get some AC. I wouldn't. If you go, try not to go during the summertime. You know? Yeah. Fuzzy here says, "I get the Northern Light." Oh my gosh! Dang it. We got here, Desire Commerce. Appreciate you. Snow and chilly out here in Baltimore today. 5 inches of snow. Crazy. Okay. I think we have one more question, and it's yours. I think so. Is it? Yeah, it is. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Greatest non-comic TV show of all time. So not a geeky related show. What's your go-to show? What show do you just sit and you can watch and repeat time and time? We watch multiple episodes of it.
You just said not geeky, so damn, I was going to pick The Big Bang Theory.
Not geeky.
Gosh.
I'll go first, Efren. Okay. I like things that make us laugh. So over here for me, there are two shows, both by the same creator, actually, who I think is he's not a popular man anymore now. But for me, I love a show which you might not have ever heard of called Father Ted. Have you heard of that? So Father Ted are basically these Irish priests on a little remote island called Craggy Island, and it's basically where they send retired or challenging priests to retire and just kind of live out the remainder of the years, and it's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. You have to watch a couple of episodes of Father Ted just to get the feel of the show. I love it. So Father Ted for me is the one I can watch the same episode multiple times. I just can't. It's just brilliant. But also the IT Crowd, again by the same writer. It's just funny, a very, very funny series. Just keeps us entertained. What about yourself?
Oh my gosh, so I usually, when I watch a TV show, I usually don't watch it again, so, but this, there was recently a special on this show, and then I'm starting to watch it again right now. I haven't watched it basically when it first came out. I watched a couple of episodes yesterday. It's MASH, the TV show.
Oh yeah.
I started watching it again. I go, you know what? These jokes still hold up. Just their humor, their sarcasm, being stuck in a Korean War and being doctors. So I think I would choose MASH, and I'm starting to watch it again, even after it's been off the air for like over 30 years now.
Yeah, I love MASH. It's one of my favorite, and also did some real hard hitting stories at time and covered some powerful drama and emotion. Quantum Leap's another one that I can quite often just sit and watch a couple of episodes of, and I know that's geeky. Quantum Leap's geeky. I'll give you that. But yeah,
that's a tough question, man. But one show I watch constantly, every time it's on, I stop and watch it. It is The Big Bang Theory. It just makes me laugh. I've seen it so many times.
Watched it.
I love
really watched it. Yeah.
That was the last question, but let's look at the comments before we're out of here. Let me see here.
James has picked The Last of Us. Of course he has.
Let me see here. James is when in September and the heat was rough. To Vegas, yeah.
Yeah.
James, The Last of Us. I've never heard of.
I need you to watch a few episodes of Father Ted, Efren, just to get.
I'll Google it after we're done. I'll start looking into it.
It's hilarious.
I think this one we knew was going to be Neighbors, stuff. Fuzzy has a list: The Wire, The Sopranos, West Wing, greatest TV shows of all time. Damn.
West Wing. I've never watched The Wire. Never watched Sopranos.
Me neither.
West Wing was one of the great. I agree with Fuzzy. It's one of the greatest shows of all time. I just love that series. I've never seen West Wing. Efren.
No, I've never seen any of them.
Mate,
no, none of them. Yeah.
I was reading an interview with it's Martin Short, isn't it? Martin Sheen, who plays the president for a number of the series. And I don't know if you know, but in one of the episodes, he's long-standing. Spoilers. His long-standing kind of secretary dies, and it's horrendous. And there's this amazing scene where he goes into a church and he just starts screaming at God, kind of, why have you taken her away? But it's all in Latin, so you don't understand what he's saying. Yeah. And I was reading this interview saying that was all improv, all off the cuff, because he speaks fluent Latin apparently, and he just did it, and it's just so powerful. Love it.
I've never seen the X-Files. I think that'd be right up my alley, but I just never saw it. I just completely missed it. But time, and that's right up my alley. Yeah,
X-Files hitty missy. From first few seasons, amazing. As soon as they get into kind of long, convoluted, Scully's got a baby from an alien in season what? Nah, just give us Monster of the Week. Yeah. It's not aged well, mind X-Files. I watched a couple of episodes not so long ago.
Father Ted is probably the great. Gosh, you guys are talking. I've never heard of it. So. Got to check it out. Well, he's going back a long time. Dead Man's Hogan's Heroes. Wow. TV Kelly Heroes film. Wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think he meant Stanford and Son, but
no, Steptoe and Son. Steptoe and Son. It's a sitcom, God, from the 60s or something, set in a scrapyard where the old grandfather and his son live. You must have heard of Steptoe. You dirty old man.
It was set in the junkyard. I think they may be the same show, but they translate over to United States.
Right. Maybe he's changed the name of it.
Yeah. Interesting. God, they do that a lot. British shows come over from the United States. Yeah. Sopranos or The Wire. You will.
So that's off Father Ted Efren. Whenever she offers someone a cup of tea. Go on. You will. It's great.
And we have
Street Hawk.
Is that a TV show or an animated show?
No, TV show. Street Hawk was back from the heyday for my childhood of TV shows. It was a bit like Knight Rider, but on a motorbike. You remember Manimal? Anybody watch Manimal?
Yes. It was on for one season. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Like that as well.
And Dead Man from 60s and 70s. Yep. Stanford and Son was the USA one.
Right. Was it the same Dead Man? I wasn't aware of that. Is it the same? Is it the same character? Is it just a repeat, or is it an Americanized version of Stepford and Son?
Yeah, I've never seen your version of it. I never knew there was a British version of it. Yeah. Stanford and Son is the American remake. Yep.
Right. Okay.
Galactica 80. Is that the one? The original one? The original Battlestar? Yeah, that was
the Cylons.
Yeah.
Whoa. Used to love that.
Yeah. Let me see. Any Glenn A. Larson show. Yeah. It was a good. I forgot what shows he's done, but I know I've seen his shows,
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is, Batman. What are the Glenn Larson
shows? He's a writer, Glenn A. Larson. The name sounds familiar, but I don't remember the shows. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah. Dead Man, not a repeat, their version of it.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
not be as good then. Not be as good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the last question. So like I said, we do this on a monthly basis, and there were some good questions there, So yeah. But Peter, what is coming up on your channel? Anything you want to talk about? What isn't coming up?
Everything. So I'm getting into the habit of doing little news kind of videos. I have to say, Fuzzy Dunlop, if he's still in the chat, has been superb with that. Send us ideas for articles that he's seen and things. But what's happened is it's resulted in us having, I think, a video every night for the next at least week, plus my live shows and things like that. So there are lots and lots going on the channel, loads of stuff to check out. Friday night will be mine and James's release of our Gremlins 2 review over on One Good Scare, so please go check that out. That was a fun film to watch. And then we've got Saturday Night Live as usual, and then next Monday will be our Let's Talk Toys show, which is always good fun. So looking forward to that.
So when you guys do your reviews on One Good Scare, like Gremlins 2, do you guys actually watch the whole movie again to remember it? Or
Yeah. So I'm gonna chat with you outside of this, Efren, because I'm gonna start doing the same on my channel, but I'm gonna do it as superhero movies.
Okay.
So we'll get you involved with some of those. Once I've worked out how it's gonna work.
All right, before we say goodbye, there's a couple more comments here. One from Batman. A-Team. A-Team was a good show. God, that was just amusing too.
I like the movie. You know, I thought the movie with Liam Neeson was pretty good as well. Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica, the second series with James Olmos, that was much CTV. Knight Rider, the original Star Trek, The Next Generation. Oh my God, we can go on and on about this. A bit geeky, but the Twilight Zone is impeccable. Yep.
Love Twilight Zone Von Hoot, but I would argue that for me, I preferred The Outer Limits. I thought The Outer Limits, the kind of the remake of the series, was very, very strong. Twilight Zone, if James is still in the chat, what's the guy called? Is it Jordan Peele? He did a remake of the Twilight Zone a couple of years ago, and that's pretty good, actually. There's some good episodes in that.
Yeah, that was good too. My camera was messing up, so I had to go away for a second here. Fuzzy says Twilight Peaks was top tier. Never seen Twin Peaks, sorry. I never saw Twin Peaks at all, but I heard it was really good. It captured the nation. I remember that.
Yeah, I saw some of it, but it was a bit too meta for my little brain at the time, I think. Yeah. I remember watching the last episode and not understand what was happening.
This is true to a point. There's so many shows out there, so I can't watch them all. So I'm too busy reading comic books. So you and that revival. And I think this is the last comment. Oh, no. Great show, lads. Thanks, James.
Thank you, James.
So there's been 3 remakes of the Twilight Zone. Yeah. This is very true. I like the black and white of it all. One of the greatest episodes of the Twilight Zone was Bill Shatner.
Yeah.
I watched that recently. Was a classic one. Yeah. So.
I watched that again recently, actually, Efren. It's a really good episode.
Yeah. He was talking about that recently on, I think it was on Instagram, that they played a joke on the director that he like fell off the plane. And the director freaked out about it. They did it. It was all staged. They were just messing around with it. But I think we are done. And unless you have any more questions that pop up, no. Yeah. All right, guys. So, like I said, this is just comic talk. We do this once a month, and we will be back next month.
Efren, sorry, before you end, we're talking about what's coming up. We're going live, mate. We're going live on Friday.
Oh, we're going live Friday. Yeah, I forgot. So. We're doing another live show on Friday on my show where we do our monthly advanced order picks. So we'll be doing that on Friday at 12 o'clock, 8 p.m. your time.
Good stuff.
I used to get so confused with the time with you guys. What time is it over there? Oh my gosh. But now I have it down. And we have a couple of more comments here. And then we are done. Love your work, boys. Thank you very much. Thanks, chaps. Thank you for showing up, everybody. And one last one from Fuzzy. Sayonara. And now we are done.